Assalamu alaikum, dear students, and a very warm welcome in my today's class. Hope all of you are fine. Dear students, today we will discuss about substitution reactions. Dear students, you might have read about substitution reactions in your earlier classes. What are substitution reactions? Those reactions in which an atom or a group of atoms is replaced by some other atom or group of atoms. Those reactions in which an atom or a group of atoms is replaced by some other atom or group of atoms are known as substitution reactions. Let us suppose we have a reactant species AB and it reacts with another species Y and leads to the formation of product AY plus B. Dear students, here what is going on in this reaction? B is replaced or substituted by Y. That is why this reaction is known as substitution reaction, or these class of reactions are known as substitution reactions. Dear students, here B can be an atom or a group of atoms Similarly, Y may be an atom or a group of atoms. So what is happening in this reaction? Our reactant species AB reacts with another species Y, and the species Y replaces B in our substrate or in our reactant and leads to formation of AY plus B. These class of reactions are known as substitution reactions. Here, your B, it might be an atom or group of atoms, and in the same way, Y can be an atom or group of atoms. Is it clear till now? Okay. Dear students, if this Y happens to be an electron-rich species, then in that case, this substitution reaction is termed as nucleophilic substitution reaction. Nucleophilic substitution reaction. And if this Y happens to be an electron deficient species, then in that case, this reaction is termed as electrophilic substitution reaction. And if this Y happens to be an odd electron species, then in that case, this reaction is termed as free radical substitution reaction. That means, on the basis of nature of Y, these substitution reactions are classified as nucleophilic substitution reactions, electrophilic substitution reactions, and free radical substitution reactions. What happens in your nucleophilic substitution reactions? An electron-rich species replaces an atom or a group of atoms in our reactant. And in case of electrophilic substitution reactions, an electron-deficient species replaces an atom or a group of atoms in our reactant. And similarly, in case of free radical substitution reactions, an odd electron species replaces an atom or a group of atoms in our reactant. Dear students, remember that electron-rich species are termed as electrophiles. Electron-rich species are termed as nucleophiles. And electron deficient species are termed as electrophiles. Also, odd electron species are termed as free radicals. So, we can also define nucleophilic substitution reactions as those class of substitution reactions in which a nucleophile replaces an atom or a group of atoms in our substrate. Similarly, electrophilic substitution reactions, those reactions in which an electrophile replaces an atom or a group of atoms in our substrate. And free radical substitution reactions, those reactions in which a free radical or an odd electron species replaces an atom or a group of atoms in our substrate. Dear students, now we will discuss about mechanism of nucleophilic substitution reactions. Mechanism of nucleophilic substitution reactions. Dear students, chemical reactions simply involve formation of bonds and cleavage of bonds. Chemical reactions simply involve cleavage of bonds and formation of bonds. That means chemical reactions involve breaking of bonds and making of bonds. The order in which, or the sequence in which, formation of bonds and breaking of bonds occurs in a chemical reaction is known as mechanism of a reaction. The order or sequence in which cleavage of bonds and making of bonds or formation of bonds occurs in a chemical reaction is known as mechanism of a reaction. Mechanism of a reaction. I can simply say, since your chemical reactions involve formation of bonds and breaking of bonds, so the order or sequence in which this cleavage and making or formation of bonds and breaking of bonds occurs in a chemical reaction is known as mechanism of a reaction. Dear students, your nucleophilic substitution reactions simply involve replacement of an atom or a group of atoms by an electron-rich species which is termed as nucleophile to form our product. Since we will be restricting our discussion only in case of organic reactions, so I will replace this A by carbon atom, and since B here acts as a leaving group, so I will simply denote it by Lg. That means now our reactant species contains carbon atom which is attached with a leaving group, and in addition it forms 3 covalent bonds. That means in total our carbon is tetravalent in nature. So this will react with nucleophile and will lead to the formation of product. Here our leaving group will be replaced by the incoming nucleophile. Now, if we ponder over this reaction, what happens in this reaction? Simply, bond between carbon and leaving group gets cleaved and bond between carbon and nucleophile gets formed. So our nucleophilic substitution reactions involve cleavage of bond between carbon and leaving group and formation of bond between carbon and nucleophile. And the sequence in which this cleavage of bond between carbon and leaving group and formation of bond between carbon and nucleophile occurs in nucleophilic substitution reactions is known as mechanism of a nucleophilic substitution reaction. Now, dear students, in case of nucleophilic substitution reactions, three possible mechanisms are there. Three possible mechanisms are there. Number first possible mechanism is that, first of all, bond between carbon and leaving group, will get cleaved, and then bond between carbon and nucleophile gets formed. So this is possibility number first. Possibility number first in case of nucleophilic substitution reactions is that first bond between carbon and bond between carbon and leaving group will get cleaved, and then bond between carbon and nucleophile gets formed. The second possibility is that bond between carbon and nucleophile forms first. It can also happen forms first. Yeah, it is also theoretically possible. Forms first, and then bond between carbon and leaving group gets cleaved. So possibility number first is that in case of nucleophilic substitution reactions, first of all, bond between carbon and nucleophile will get formed, and then bond between carbon and leaving group gets cleaved. And possibility number third is that simultaneously bond